Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett, and college football is officially dead. This morning, the ACC reported that they have voted to invite SMU, Cal, and Stanford into their conference. Now, this is going to have rippling implications across all of college football, but most significantly, to the Pac-12. Now, this has not only killed the Pac-12, but it's also opened the door for the Pac-12 to explore new opportunities. Some of those could be detrimental to college football as a whole, or will they? Patrick, what did you see from the ACC voting to invite SMU, Cal, and Stanford? Do you think this was a good move? And what does this mean for the Pac-12?
Right. I see the ACC doing what everyone else is doing. They're trying to add teams, Josh, but they're not trying to be revolutionary. They're not trying to think about the forefront of where college football is going in the future. And that's where we bring you to this. It's been rumored that the Florida State Seminoles are open to any funding outside to bring in more money for the college. To save the Pac-12, Josh, we are one Saudi Arabia investment away from creating a Super League.
I mean, that's a great point. If the Pac-12 wanted to be saved, I mean, they're down to two teams right now. Two teams, and it's not looking good for them. If the Pac-12 was serious about saving their league, they bring in Saudi, and they get that Saudi money in there, and the next thing you know, I think they could be saved. I mean, because you think about it. Look what Saudi Arabia did for the PGA. I mean, the Saudis basically saved the PGA. You know, they create LIV, and then LIV joins back with the PGA, essentially saving the PGA. So if the Saudis can do that for such a prestigious league as the PGA, they can 100% do that for the Pac-12, and I'm excited to see what that could look like.
Yeah, and it's interesting because you're presenting another option other than the NCAA. So here you got the Pac-12, and we know all these schools, they're only in it for the money. They want more money. They want more investment into their college. Yep. So if I'm the Pac-12, I'm looking around because now it's just me, Oregon State, and Washington State. I make a little phone call, call up Saudi Arabia, and I say, hey, I have a business opportunity for you. You bring them in. Next thing you know, you're talking about, hey, what schools want more money? Hey, Clemson, you want some more money? You want out of the ACC deal? Florida State, you want outside of the ACC deal? Well, I got an opportunity for you.
Oh, yeah. Because once you have that money, you have that funding, it's going to be easy to get people into that conference pretty much immediately. I think that kind of moves the needle. Seemingly moves the needle based on what we've seen with the Big Ten and the past couple of weeks.
And the Pac-12 has that tradition, the Rose Bowl, Josh. You bring in Saudi Arabia, you're just adding to the funding at that point, right?
It seems like it. Yeah, but the question is now, Patrick, it really is just, it's become this. The question has become, how many years are we away from college football just essentially being the NFL too? Because you have all of these conferences stacking up, building teams, making a very, there's two conferences basically. Two conferences, and then there's a couple like half conferences now that exist. And so how long until we just have, it's just the NFC versus the AFC of college football? I mean, that's what it feels like we're heading to. And it's honestly, it's unfair for the student athletes if you think about it. I mean, look at UCLA. They're pretty much traveling across the country every single week because of their, this new situation. And is it fair for the student athletes? I mean, probably not. It's probably not.
Josh, you're a kid that goes to LA, you're UCLA. When's the next opportunity you're going to get to go to East Lansing or Minnesota? It's the opportunities that are being presented now.
Yeah, I agree, Patrick. I mean, I guess that's a good point. Whatever. But the college football purists, they're gonna hate. They're hating everything that's happening right now. And as somebody who really is only an NFL guy, I guess I'm fine with it. Whatever. As long if we have 2 NFLs in a couple of years, I'm fine by that. I guess that would be a pretty electric weekend. And if the Saudis come in and invest into the Pac-12, there's a chance Cristiano Ronaldo is kicking for Oregon State.
Right, because my sources tell me, Josh, that Cristiano Ronaldo still has 4 years eligibility left for college football. Now, soccer, that's a different question. But to be that kicker on the football team, you would think, hey, that would add some juice to that Saudi Arabian soccer league.
Absolutely. So, hey, good for college football and their future endeavors. And good for the Pac-12. We're really rooting for you. Moving on, we have a full slate of college football games that are actually happening this week.
Yes.
And Patrick, I think we're going to touch on three key matchups. The first one, most people are saying, Josh, why are we even talking about this? Well, we're talking about this game because there is a new regime, and people are very interested in how this is going to play out. We're talking about Colorado playing TCU. TCU, former good team until they got and played Georgia. So Colorado, they get in Deion Sanders, they bring in his kids, and Patrick, I don't know if you know the record of Deion Sanders in just his life. He's lost very rarely.
Yeah, Josh, lose.
The only loss I could think of in recent years is when he lost his toes. So they're plus 20.5 Colorado going to TCU. Patrick, who do you got here?
Josh, you got to ride with Colorado. Because Colorado comes in, you're taking the points with them. Plus 20.5. They're juiced up. Deion Sanders, he's bringing in that football culture. Yep. And you know what? He also wants to bring in a baseball team. And that's what you get with a 2-sport Deion Sanders-led university. Now, Colorado, they still might not have the money to pay him. They'll figure that out later. But I guess what? If they put all their money down in the college university on Colorado plus 20.5, they might be able to pay Deion the rest of his contract.
Well, I agree. I think that's a good idea. I'm riding with Colorado plus 20.5 as well. They're going to get it done. Moving on, we got North Carolina playing South Carolina. This is a close line, plus 2.5. South Carolina's plus 2.5. Dogs at home. Patrick, who do you like here?
Yeah, I'm riding with my boys at North Carolina. You got that Tar Heel Blue. They just added some boys this morning into the ACC. And you imagine, now they've got 3 more fan bases rooting them on because it's that ACC-SEC rivalry coming in. Hey, take UNC and take them with the points.
Yeah, the ACC's riding high, Patrick, but I think South Carolina gets it done here. I'm taking South Carolina plus 2.5. And you know what? I believe that the SEC triumphs most. So and that's what I'm thinking here. Last game we got LSU minus 2.5 against Florida State, allegedly in a neutral location.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, Patrick, I'm gonna get my pick first because I don't want to just have to pick after listening to your pick. I'm going LSU minus 2.5. Sure. FSU, sure. I'm sure they're great. I'm sure the Florida State crowd is bumping some Kodak this weekend, and I'm sure they're hype. But LSU, they're a solid team. People forget they beat Alabama last year.
Yeah, people do forget that. But here's what concerns me about that pick, Josh, is Florida State's coming off that post-hurricane bump. And we know the community going to rally around them. Florida, they're coming off the hurricane situation, and the community's going to rally around them. That being said, Josh, I say not so fast. I think LSU goes in there, and not only do they cover the 2 points, they win by double digits. And when that happens, Josh, I made an all-time bet this week.
Oh, did you really?
I just want to say, I made an all-time bet that I am willing to pay for all of the boys' drinks at the bars this week if LSU doesn't cover double digits.
Oh my gosh.
We are confident in the bet.
Well, hey, that's great. That's I hope that works out for you, man. That's a lot riding on there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Well, we believe in you, and if there ever was a time of year to do that, it's coming right off the summer when you still have have the work money in the bank account and
right, the work money in the bank account, and you know what, and the viewers at home, they might not understand because look, I'll be honest, Josh. We have high watch time for the first segment, and now we're rolling into segment 2. So we might have lost some of the audience, and I don't know if they know that I go to University of Georgia, and it happens that on Thursday there's a $1 beer night. So like at max, I'm down like $10-15, but they don't need to know that.
Oh, okay.
They don't.
Gotcha.
They don't need to know that.
And the TikTok clip has ended right now. So
right, that's what I mean. So they don't know that.
They don't know.
So like this is behind the scenes
high,
preview.
It's high stakes. Well, hey, listen, I didn't even think about the hurricane bump though, the hurricane rally, and that's a great point. But I'm still rolling with LSU. So that's. Oh, by the way, if you are watching, we're doing LSU FSU watch along live on TikTok. Sunday night, so it's going to be a good time. Make sure you tune in.
Yeah, really excited about that. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
We're going to giving some stuff away. It's going to be a good time.
Cool.
Moving on to the NFL. Buccaneers. Mike Evans is likely playing his last season with the Bucs as contract extensions talks. They've not been going well, and I'm not sure which party is really responsible for the extension not going well. I imagine. Imagine not having Tom Brady is making it really tough for Mike Evans to want to hang around. I imagine if you have Tom Brady, it's a lot easier of talks right now.
Yeah, also, it's another thing that Mike Evans wants to get this done before the season, because if his numbers fall off because he doesn't have Tom Brady, he doesn't want the money to come in at a lower price after the season. Right. But, we also look around at this, Josh, and Mike Evans, and he's got Baker Mayfield thrown to him. Josh, by week 5, we're going to forget that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are an organization again. Because let's be honest, we forgot they were an organization before Jameis Winston. But then they brought in Jameis Winston. He has a 30-for-30 season. And they paralleled that into a Tom Brady signing where everyone was on their bandwagon. Everybody loved him. But now Jameis and really, Tom Brady are
Thomas. And if you think about it, Tom Brady really just came in and took over the team that Jameis built. So, so that's, you have to remember that.
They say, Josh, they say it's harder. They say it's harder to build the foundation than to come in and put the rest of the building on top of it. And that's exactly what Jameis did.
Level and it's expensive. Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, and so now I don't know if Baker Mayfield comes in and balls out, though. Maybe we're having a different conversation, but I do not believe that will be the case potentially from the fact that he was in a pretty heated battle with Kyle Trask for that QB1 spot. And I don't know if we know too much about Kyle Trask, but what I do know is no other was considering him for the starting spot.
Yes, that's what my sources told me.
So I don't know. We'll see about that. Hopefully Mike Evans gets this deal done because, he is an integral part to that team. And
right, and Josh, we're pro player money.
And by the way, I would love that situation to get resolved because I got a big fantasy draft tonight, and he's one of the players that I was eyeballing to potentially get good value out of. And now I'm not sure if I want him if he's not secure yet.
Right, and that's what you mean by when you say you got a jam-packed Friday, you concluded with the fantasy draft, and that's how you know it's a jam-packed Friday.
Yeah, and that's the end of the day. So hopefully they figured that out. Andy Reid took a play from a custodian. Patrick, did you hear about this? And
Josh, parent.
Custodian, not janitor, to make the distinction. Allegedly, from the janitor community, it's janitor. The custodian community, janitor is no longer a word we use.
No, we phased that one out, Josh. We phased that out. Right, so Andy Reid, you have to imagine the conversations going, hey, Andy, you mind if I can just go grab the trash in your office real quick? Yeah, of course, man. Here, hop in. And, the custodian goes up there and he's like, hey, Andy, I'm telling you, I got this play where you have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, all the boys just spin in the backfield. And they just do the 360. And Andy's like, you know what? I love it. And so, when everybody was like, what are the Chiefs doing when they were doing the 360 in the backfield and stuff? Maybe it came from the custodian.
Do you think that there's a chance that when he gave that play, he, as excited as he was also super nervous because he's like, oh shoot, what if he comes to me for the second play? That's the only play I had. And now he's in a situation where he's doing 2 jobs because he's custodian of the day, and then at night he's having to watch film and try to come up with new plays. Was it a blessing or was it a curse?
Well, and the other thing is, I wanna ask the Hunt family that owns the Chiefs. Did the custodian get compensated extra money for the play he came up with? Because, like you said, Josh, now he's got to work 2 jobs, and that's not fair to him or his family.
He's doing Andy's job. Like, did Andy take out the trash that day?
Probably not.
Probably not. So, man, and if you're cleaning out the trash in Andy Reid's office, it's not a jab at Andy Reid. I'm just imagining that's a big job, you know, because if you ever have like crumbled up like a McDonald's like wrapper, you know, like when it's never, you can only compact it so much, especially when you have like the fries, because the fries they're sturdy. Like if you get the large one, it's like it's cardboard. You know, you can't just. So we can't imagine that was an easy job, and now he has another job on top of it. That's tough for that guy, but it's cool that he had to play in the NFL. I mean, if I could pick a play, draw up a play for the NFL, that would be pretty electric. So that's cool. You know who's loving their job right now, Patrick?
Who's loving their job?
Aaron Rodgers is loving his job. He says he's living in a beautiful dream right now with the Jets. Now, if you've been following along the Hard Knocks, there have been some moments where it feels like it's not been a dream. There's been some moments where people are dropping balls, the offensive line doing essentially nothing, and nobody's really talking about that. They're talking about the great moments, the exciting moments. But Patrick, I came out with a video this week. I have the Jets slated as the 3rd best team in that division.
You do, Josh.
And I think this beautiful dream could become a beautiful nightmare, in pretty quickly.
Yeah, it could be, Josh. Here's the thing: things are really, really working out well right now for Aaron Rodgers, because not only has Aaron Rodgers moved from Green Bay, Wisconsin to New York, New York, he also brought his rumored girlfriend, it seems like, with him. I mean, he's got Mallory Edens. And Josh, we've been on top of this story for a while. We were on top of the story last football season.
A while. Because remember, the rumors came out that he was dating Blue, the I'm not sure how to describe her as like other than like an extension of like maybe like a plant.
Right.
He was allegedly with Blue. But then, like, the same week, he was reported to be with Mallory Edens, and so we were hearing conflicting reports. We weren't really sure if he had – maybe he just had 2 girlfriends. And then we hadn't really heard much about it, but I guess they've been strong through this whole thing, or maybe they just rekindled it because, again, we're hearing reports that Aaron Rodgers is with Mallory Edens, and so I guess he's either in a long-term relationship or they just maybe had a hiatus.
Right. And Josh, it's going to be a tough situation for him because, you know, as the Jets quarterback, he's going to be expected to show up to New York Knicks games. And his girlfriend, Mallory, her dad owned the Milwaukee Bucks. And so that's a conflict of interest that Aaron's going to have to go. And I don't know if that's a beautiful dream.
I mean, he's definitely going to have to make some tough decisions. Like, is he going to stay loyal to Milwaukee? Because, you know, he was a Milwaukee guy. You always see that video of him you know, down in the Bears, you know, courtside, and people love it.
He was doing it. But
again, new city, maybe he has to adopt the culture and adopt the ways of the city. I guess you go to New York, you go Knicks, or do you go Nets?
I don't think there's a chance he's a Nets fan.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's a chance.
Yeah, I agree. You say Knicks. Good point.
Right.
Okay, Patrick, am I missing anything on the docket?
I mean, how about this, Josh? A little NASCAR preview. We're at one of the series' best tracks, Darlington.
Oh, Darlington. Yeah, that's true. And you know, because we're in the sim, and when we're in the sim, we know Darlington is a fun track. It's a competitive track. It's a tough track. And this is the first week of the playoffs. And people are, I mean, this week matters. Every week from now on, not that there wasn't a week that didn't matter, but officially, like, if you have like an engine failure and you finish, you know, 35th through 40, you're essentially in a win. You need a win situation,
right?
And so yeah, it's gonna be tough to see.
Josh, who are you taking this weekend?
Well, Patrick, I'm taking a guy who's due. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm taking a guy who, I mean, it feels like it's been a year since he's won a race. Arguably, if he could just finish a race, he'd be fine. I mean, he had some troubles last week, and he was still running up in the front. And
Yeah, he
just,
was.
just wasn't on the lead lap, but he was still running up in the front. And so
That shows you the car he had.
and that shows what kind of guy, like what kind of driver he is. That he works his
Mhm.
way back up to the front, even though he's not
Mhm.
even on the lead lap. And so I'm gonna take Kyle Larson.
Yeah, Josh, I'm going to go with a guy that he has some history with. Actually, they had a little run-in Darlington back in the spring. And Josh,
Ooh.
I like my boy Ross Chastain, who is maybe not a great dirt track guy. I think he gets it done at Darlington though.
Man, and people are gonna wonder, is Ross Chastain handicapped in this playoffs now that they've basically banned his signature move?
Yeah, I mean, but he wasn't gonna have to worry about that until until Martinsville. So we'll
Yeah,
cross
but
that
I'm
bridge when we
saying,
get there.
but I'm saying that it's people are gonna wonder. It's something we got to think
Yeah,
about
they
as we're
could.
going in.
Yeah, NASCAR doesn't like Ross Chastain.
They're anti Ross Chastain, so
Yeah.
So that's tough. Well, listen, that's the show. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you guys go to picksandpancakes.com to read everything happening in sports. And before you click off, DM us on Instagram at Picks and Pancakes, and we will give you a free mug and a $10 McDonald's gift card. Also, we're going to be launching some merch at picksandpancakes.shop. So if you guys want to go support us there. And then, again, Sunday night on TikTok, make sure you guys tune in as we go live for LSU FSU. It's gonna be an exciting time. Going to give away some merch, and we're gonna have a good time. So join us there. Anyway, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Sports is really here, man. Sports is happening.
Oh, you faked me out there.
What? Oh, I was gonna go. Okay. Hey, listen. We'll see you guys on Monday. Have a wonderful weekend. A peace.